Well, hello there. Thank you for joining me again, and thank you for all the feedback on the previous video. We'll dive right in. We're still on this theme of meta-normal, which a lot of you are finding really exciting. It's about how we're letting go of what was and defining and embracing the new and the beyond, so we can be bigger and better people. So those are the top five uh, principles of metaphysics as chosen by me. What we're going to do is we're going to define this meta sales process in a very practical way. So we will first talk about the five principles and then apply it to the actual sales process. But the first thing you need to know about this meta sales process is that it's a shift in consciousness. Excuse me, a change in consciousness, whether it's higher or lower consciousness. At this stage, it doesn't matter because it all depends on our perspective. So we leave it there for now. So let's talk about this principle of fair exchange. This is about duality. We see the world, we've been trained to see the world in two separate dichotomies, two dualities, two different opposing categories, one positive, one negative. And we've trained our brains to be able to distinguish between the one and the other, and whether this is going to serve us going forward or not, that remains to be seen. I think watch the space for that. But getting back to duality, duality is about giving and receiving. Keeping it with the sales process, it's about giving and receiving. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote a beautiful essay called Compensation, where he discussed this many, many moons ago. Uh, how the sweet has the sour in it, and the sour has the sweet in it, and how every good has its evil, and how every evil has its good. And that is also conceptualized very nicely in the Chinese symbol, the Chinese concept of yin and yang. Most of you have seen that symbol of the white and the black, and in the white you have black, and in the black you have white. Okay, the concept of I in relation to this law of duality, or this law of fair exchange. The first vector point is I. Okay, I give something to you and I receive something for me. So I give you a you thing and you give me a me thing. And this you thing is what's important to you, what you place value in, and the me thing is what's important to me and what I place value in or on. Which, if you think about the sales process, we give value in order to receive value. As salespeople, our highest value, or one of our highest values, would be around receiving compensation, receiving some form of tangible value, which in this case we'll call currency or money. Okay, so I hope that simplifies this law or this principle of fair exchange. Let's now go into the next one, which I think most of you are waiting for. This is the concept of spooky action in motion. Now forget all the science for a second. I'm going to make it very simple and very spooky, because if you can see the two ghosts on the screen, the one is a positive ghost. Yes, you do get positive ghosts, and the one is a negative ghost. Okay, now these positive and negative ghosts were together, and now they've been, for the sake of this experiment, they've been drawn or moved apart. There's been distance, scientific distance. There's been some distance between them. And here's the interesting thing. If you tickle the positive ghost, the negative ghost will laugh. That is the idea of spooky action in motion. So however you treat the one particle, the other particle will get treated the same way. It will also feel the tickle and it will also laugh. Okay, I think I've summarized it. For all the scientists out there, you're welcome to give me your feedback. And coming back to this concept of this me thing and this you thing, right? If if I give you $1, you're going to give me $1. But that's not how it works in sales. This is more on a symbolic level. we'll call it symbolic now. It's more on a symbolic level. So we just hit the 5-minute mark, so please stay with me. And I give a value of $1 in order to receive that currency or that money that's valuable to me of $1. That is the beauty of the sales process. Okay. And let's go to the principle number 3, conscious connectivity. Now this is where things get a little bit more spooky. So when I first heard this, I was just in awe. Carl Sagan said, after all his research, is that every element that makes up this physical body, my hair, my skin, my eyes, my nose, my hands, my fingernails, every atom or every particle in my body came from the cosmos. It was once a star, and when these stars exploded, all the waste, those metals, that nitrogen, the oxygen, the carbon, is actually what's in my body. So we are literally and physically made of stars. We are star stuff. I'm a star, you're a star. And part of this conscious connectivity is this heart-brain coherence, which we're going to get into. This is Greg Braden's concept, and he gets full credit for this, and I hope I do it some form of justice in explaining it in terms of my interpretation. The 2 quotes he uses, which are absolutely amazing. St. Francis of Assisi says there are beautiful and wild forces within us. And if you think about these stars and everything that we're made of, these are these beautiful and wild forces within us. And Rumi said, if you put your soul against this ore with me, the power that made the universe will enter your sinew, your muscle, from the source, not outside your limbs, but from the holy realm that lives within us. Within us, these stars. This heart-brain coherence. So the brain has its frequency, the heart has its frequency, and when these two are connected, these forces, these beautiful and wild forces within us, that's when this power machine starts to work. And just to take it one step further, this coherence it's a responsive mechanism to connect with the earth. The earth has so many layers beyond it. Okay, the concept I like, that I first heard it from Dr. John D. Martini's, this idea of, not the idea, the fact that there is a noosphere, like literally there is a skin or a layer around the earth that is called the noosphere, and that's where all the ideas, that's the mastermind of this earth. Okay, let's get to the first breath. When you were born, the first thing that happened to you, so you were slapped on the butt, then you started crying, and you took your first breath on this planet. That's when you became impregnated on Mother Earth. You became impregnated in space and time, and that's now where you became part of these magnetic forces. That breath has been spoken about for many centuries. Hinduism refers to it as prana, or life force, and the Oriental sciences refer to it as chi. Okay, so part of this first breath is that we should know that time has a form, it's cyclical, but let's take it down one step, but let's break it down a little bit. A day has a structure. We have a day, a night, we have hours, we have minutes, we have seconds. Okay, but now, did you know that a day also has a personality? And these personalities have been influenced by the constellations. by the formation and the positioning of these stars and planets in our very nearby cosmos. Okay, so that's the time element. And on the earth element, remember we said metaphysics is about your experience of time and space. So you got the time element now, and now you got the space element. The space element is where this prana or this chi operates. Now, the fifth principle is the principle of making it happen. This is about going above and beyond the inertia and also beyond the mundane. And I'm conscious of time, so I'm racing through here. In the next video, if you enjoy that, in the next video, we're now going to apply it practically to the sales process. So thank you for listening and see you soon.